guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Monique, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience working with a life coach. So if you're interested in hearing about my experience in the Become an Unstoppable Woman program, then keep on watching. So the reason that I decided to start life coaching is because I found myself in a place that I didn't recognize. I was very lost. I found it very difficult to be optimistic, and I just wasn't being myself. And I was trying really hard to break through and, be better, but I felt like I just couldn't figure it out. And so then came the opportunity to work with Lindsay, and when that opportunity came up, I could not say no. I just felt like it was, sent from above, because everything that I was struggling with and everything that I needed help with, Lindsay offered. So she's very much caters to go-getter women who are, very much so ambitious and need guidance along the way. And so whenever I connected with her, it was like meant to be. And then we started the process with Life Lovers Challenge. I made a whole video talking all about my Life Lovers experience, so I will be putting it in the description box below so you guys can check that out. That is the first phase of Lindsay's program. And then after that, I jumped into Become an Unstoppable Woman, which is a 3-month long course where we dive deep into limiting beliefs. We dive in deep to your authentic self, your strengths, a lot of stuff that I'm about to cover with you guys. The first major thing that we did in Become an Unstoppable Woman program was pulling our bullet holes. And so Lindsay had me basically write out the top 10 life-altering things that happened to me that I feel like really changed me as a person and really changed my life in general. And boy, I had a lot to write. And it was all stuff that I had known and had thought about and had tried to work through, but to be honest with you, a lot of it is just very painful, and it's so much easier to just ignore it. And I was at the point where obviously I'm doing this program, I can't ignore it any longer. So I was, forced to pull those bullet holes and to figure out what my limiting beliefs were. And when I started pulling all of that, it was making so much sense, because those were things that my negative self-talk would say all of the time. And so I was feeling very hopeful at this point, because I'm like, I'm excited to break through this. I'm excited to get past this and to just live a more free, happy life, because nobody likes to be living in the past and feeling all of that inside. Another one of the things that I found super extremely helpful during this Become an Unstoppable Woman program was differentiating my inner mean girl voice from my authentic self voice. Now, Lindsay says that the inner mean girl voice is your ego, and so basically it's kind of that side of you that's more negative, that's the Debbie Downer, that's not really you. And I found this to be so apparent in my life, because I would feel honestly like I was turning into a different person at sometimes. Like when I would be having an argument with my boyfriend, I feel like I would just, something would trigger me and I would turn into this monster. Or if like something in my life happened that I wasn't expecting, I would be triggered and instantly turn into this different person. And it was just such an obvious difference in who my inner mean girl was and who my authentic self is. And so it's been a really awesome experience to be able to shift in between the two. And when I started gaining this power, I really started feeling empowered because there was this one time that I remember specifically. I was doing laundry, and Paul, my boyfriend, had done something, and like the first instinct that I felt was to like get upset. And then I was like, Monique, it's not that serious. You don't need to like rah, and so I feel like being able to catch myself before I was about to shift and bring myself back down to my authentic self has just been super helpful. And that was one example, but I've used it so many times since, and I feel like it just creates a better life experience for me, my partner, for my relationships, for everybody in my world, and especially for the relationship that I have with myself, because that's the most important one to have. Another one of my favorite takeaways was learning how to fulfill my own needs from within. I feel like this was a really big one for me, especially because I didn't recognize it then, but I did rely heavily on distractions to avoid from feeling negative or bad feels. And it was a problem, especially with using my phone as a distraction, with using food as a distraction, with using kind of love as a distraction. And so learning how to fulfill my own needs from within really taught me how to, for one, fill my own cup, and for two, learn myself better, and how to connect with me. And I feel like that whole experience on its own has allowed me to be able to listen to my own inner voice, has allowed me to be able to acknowledge my authentic self, my authentic desires, and really has helped me guide in this new path and in this new journey. During the Become an Unstoppable course, we also did a boundaries checklist, and we went ahead and filled out a bunch of different things that determined whether or not we had crappy boundaries. And to be honest, I've always kind of known that my boundaries were not the strongest, especially because you know when you're saying yes to things you don't want to do. Like, that's just point blank obvious. And I am guilty of doing that for sure. So being able to recognize that my boundaries aren't the strongest, and being able to recognize how important having boundaries are for your own sanity has just been a huge eye-opener for me. I'm still learning and still practicing and still figuring out what my boundaries are exactly and how to communicate that the right way to those around me, but that has been just such a huge eye-opener, and I'm excited because I've been learning different ways to say things. I've been trying to become a better communicator, and all of this kind of ties in back to filling my own cup and making sure that I always feel full. And I think that's so important, because a lot of the times, especially us as women, want to give and give and give, and it's no wonder we end up feeling exhausted and tired and drained and feeling like we have no more life in us. So be sure to fill your own cup, because it is so freaking important. The hardest part for me during this program was the 21-day challenge. So for 21 days, Lindsay challenged us to do 3 actionable habits that were fulfilling some sort of need in our life. And if you messed up, like if you missed a day of doing that, even one of those 3 habits, you had to start from the beginning. And this was really hard for me. I really struggled, and when I started struggling, here came that inner mean girl saying like, you can't ever finish anything and you suck. It just became really difficult for me, and I kind of had a breaking point, and luckily Lindsay is an amazing coach to have, and she was so supportive of me every step of the way, and she was really there for me and very honest too, which I respect more than anything, is somebody who's honest and real and genuinely cares and wants to help. So I failed a couple of times with my 21-day habits, and I just, you know, one of my biggest mistakes was I picked habits that were way too ambitious, and she does make it very clear, like, pick habits that are a little hard but not crazy hard, because you want this to be achievable. And so whenever I found habits that really spoke to my needs and really were attainable and just small minuscule things that made me feel a lot better, I was able to achieve them. But man, I will tell you, like, I was really struggling, especially mentally, because I just felt like I couldn't do it. So I would have to say that the most life-changing and my favorite part of the whole process was a specific exercise that she had us do towards the end of the program. And it basically, we went in with our bullet holes or with what we really wanted to work on and really dove deep. I'm just so grateful that Lindsay created this process, because it allowed me to go deep into the depths of my trauma and just let it out in a way that I had never done before. And when I left there, I was just feeling like a whole new woman. I felt like I had let everything go. I felt like I no longer had the weight of the world on my shoulders. I no longer felt that bitterness towards people. I no longer felt just like I was holding on to all of that stuff anymore, and it felt amazing. To this day, it still feels amazing, and I can't wait to do that process again, because it was just so transformational. And I know I still have a lot of things that I need to work on internally, and there's still bullet holes and things that have happened in my life that I really do want to let go of, and I feel like that was just such a great way. So the tools that I learned during the Become an Unstoppable Woman program and Life Lovers, things like journaling, things like mantras, do you time, your gratitude journal, those are all tools that we're supposed to use for the rest of our lives. And I need to be honest and say that there was definitely a couple of weeks there where I did not use any of my tools, and I kind of just let life get the best of me, and I fell into the chaos because I did have things going on, and you know, nobody's perfect. But I will say that I definitely saw the difference in my life when I stopped using my tools. And so I'm definitely back to using my tools, and I'm actually going to use the methods that I learned from Lindsay to geared towards more health and fitness goals because as you guys can see, look at this double chin. I have definitely gained some weight, and I'm excited because on this new journey, I'm looking forward to going more into my body, mind, and soul, how they all connect, and limiting beliefs about food, healing about food, and just diving deep in a different way than I ever have before. Well, that completes my review on the Become an Unstoppable Woman program by Lindsay Preston. I highly recommend working with her. She's an amazing person, an amazing human being, and if you feel called, if you're interested, if anything I said today resonates with you, I'm going to put all of her contact info in the description box, as well as her free coaching assessment. I highly recommend that you guys book a one-on-one call with her, get to know her, talk to her, pick her brain a bit, and see if you guys would be a good fit to work with one another, because she has absolutely changed my life, and I'm just super excited to continue to go on this path and hopefully soon do her next program, because I know that I will get a lot out of it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Besitos.